Official leader of the opposition, Pierre Poilievre, sat down last week with our global anchor, Donna Friesen. From how, given the chance, he'd push through an Alberta-British Columbia pipeline to the aftermath of party deserters, here's that interview.
Mr. Poilievre, good to see you. Thanks for taking time with us today.
Likewise, and Merry Christmas to you.
Thanks. You too. 2025, let's talk about it.
Pierre Poilievre has been writing that Canada is broken wave like it is going out of style, and for a while, it worked brilliantly. But here is the twist nobody saw coming. The more he screams that everything is falling apart, the more Canadians are starting to ask themselves, okay, but who is actually going to fix this mess? And spoiler alert, that question might not land in his favor if he keeps playing the same tired tune. Quick favor, if you are loving this, hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell to keep getting the latest updates on Canadian and UK politics. Cheers if you did. Now back to the show. Let us be real for a second. Poilievre's entire political brand has been built on one simple premise: Canada is broken, and he is the guy with the toolkit. Housing crisis? Broken. Economy? Broken. Trust in government? Shattered into a million pieces. And fair enough, he is not entirely wrong.
It's been the easiest year for you. The Conservatives did receive 41% of the popular vote in the last election. You have a lot of loyal support right across this country, which I'm sure you're very proud of. But you didn't win the election, and you didn't win your own seat. That would be a big blow.
Canadians are frustrated, they are anxious, and they are desperate for someone to acknowledge that things are not exactly sunshine and rainbows right now. Poilievre tapped into that anger, and it catapulted him to the front of the Conservative Party like a rocket strapped to a beaver. But here is where things get spicy. There is a shelf life to being the guy who only points out problems. At some point, people stop caring about the diagnosis and start demanding the cure. And right now, Poilievre is dangerously close to overstaying his welcome in the complaint department. Because the more he hammers home that Canada is broken, the more voters are starting to wonder, all right, Pierre, but what is your plan? And more importantly, are you actually the best person to fix this? Think about it like this. Imagine you have got a leaky roof. You call a contractor, and he shows up, looks at the damage, and says, wow, this roof is absolutely knackered.
To a lot of people in your position, have you reflected on what went wrong?
Well, I have reflected, and you're right, it is a big blow to a lot of people who voted for, in record numbers actually, voted for affordable food, affordable.
Worst I have ever seen. Total disaster. Okay, great. But then he just keeps saying it, over and over. 4 weeks. At some point, you are going to think, right, mate, I get it. The roof is rubbish. But are you going to fix it or just stand here narrating the obvious? That is where Poilievre is right now. He has been brilliant at pointing out the leak, but Canadians are starting to ask if he has actually got the tools to patch it up. And here is the kicker. 6 months is an absolute eternity in politics. 6 months ago, nobody thought Mark Carney would even be in the conversation, and now he is hovering around like a policy wizard with a resume longer than a CVS receipt. 6 months ago, Chrystia Freeland was still Deputy Prime Minister, and now she is positioned as a potential leadership contender with a whole new narrative. The political landscape can flip faster than a pancake on Shrove Tuesday, and Poilievre is betting everything on the assumption that voters will still be angry enough to hand him the keys to 24 Sussex Drive without asking too many questions. But what if they start asking questions? What if Canadians wait?
Homes, safer streets, after 10 years of inflation and rising crime. And so we always reflect on how we can continue to inspire those 8.3 million people, a record number, who voted for us, but how we can inspire even more. And so my message for the year to come will be one of hope. I think people desperately need hope. Hope that they can afford groceries, hope they
wake up one morning and think, hold on, we know Pierre thinks everything is broken. But does he actually know how to govern? Does he have a coherent plan? Or is he just really, really good at complaining? Because right now, his strategy is starting to look less like a winning formula and more like a one-trick pony that is run out of tricks. Let us talk about the fixer question, because this is where things get properly interesting. When you spend months, even years, convincing people that everything is falling apart, you create a very specific expectation. Voters start looking for someone who is not just angry, but competent. Someone who is not just loud, but credible. Someone who does not just yell about problems but actually inspires confidence that they can solve them. And that is a much higher bar than Poilievre has been jumping so far. The danger for him is that the longer he stays in attack mode, the more room he gives to someone else to step in and say, you know what? I have got a plan. Whether that is Mark Carney with his economic credentials, or frankly anyone who can project calm competence in a storm, Poilievre risks being outmaneuvered by someone who looks less like a firebrand and more like a steady hand on the tiller. And let us not forget,
afford homes, and many have put hope in me in the past, but we have to keep inspiring them so that more will do so in the future.
What I meant with respect was a big blow to you personally. Have you reflected on what went wrong in the campaign, in your own leadership?
Well, yes, I have reflected, and
Canadian voters can be a fickle bunch. They love an underdog, they love authenticity, but they also love results. And if Poilievre cannot pivot from everything is terrible to here is how we fix it in a way that feels genuine and specific, he is going to lose the plot. Because the moment voters start thinking, maybe this guy is all talk and no trousers, it is over. Game, set, match.
And obviously, I think my goal and one of the adjustments that we need to make is that people know that I'm a fighter. But they need to know what I'm fighting for and who I'm fighting for.
So what does he need to do? Simple. Change the bloody channel. Stop being the guy who only talks about what is wrong and start being the guy who convinces Canadians he can actually make it right. Show some vision. Lay out some concrete plans. Give people a reason to believe that he is not just a professional complainer, but a legitimate leader who can steer the ship through choppy waters. Because if he does not, 6 months from now, we could be talking about Pierre Poilievre as the guy who had it all and blew it. The guy who rode the wave of anger all the way to the beach, only to wipe out at the last second because he forgot to actually stand up on the board. And in politics, that is not just a loss. That is a legacy. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you in the next one.